Over here we are Team ESKANA, so and Cassidy is the goddess. I don't actually know what this is about. And I kind of don't care. Hello, I'm Lizzie and this is Lizzie Reads and welcome to my Realm-A-Thon or April TBR. I will be mainly partaking in Realm-A-Thon, which is hosted by Covers with Cassidy, linked down below, but I'm also going to try and fit these books into the Magical Readathon and Magical Hopathon. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you my pile of possibilities, and then midway through the month do a sort of check in to sort of match things up to Magical Readathon and Magical Hopathon a bit more. Magical Readathon is obviously hosted by the lovely G from Book Roast, and Magical Hopathon is Rachel from Rachel Carey. So I'll link all those channels down below. But let's get into it. Just FYI, over here we are Team ESKANA, supporting our Queens of the Realm, Jade from JD Ray Reads and Beck Bewitched Becks. So I suppose we better get into the books. I've got quite a few books that I want to read this month. I'm being also very free with my reading, but also meticulously planning everything. I will not be revealing all of the team's secrets in this video because there are some things that are best left to the spies. But let's just start with the physical reads I have planned for this month. Now, obligation reads, I suppose. I'm starting with The Lost Hero, which is the first in the Heroes of Olympus series by Rick Riordan. So this is the series directly after Percy Jackson, and I am buddy reading this with Becca from Bewitched Becks, and we're going to probably be reading this sometime next week. I don't actually know what this particular book is about. I just wanted to follow on in the Percy Jackson universe. I don't think Percy Jackson's in this one, but I believe he will be later. Yeah, and I just really like Rick Riordan's writing style. It's a really quick and easy read. I haven't totted up what this will mean in terms of points for Realm-A-Thon, but I'll just see where it fits and see if I can get as many points as possible. But primarily there are some books that I'm picking up for points. Then also I am partaking in the read along for the Late Night Cruise unofficial book club, and they are reading the Bromance Book Club this month, and I thought just because it's a romance book, I was like, I have to pick it up, and it's one that I'd heard of and heard good things about. And this is by, I don't know if it's Lisa K. Adams or Lisa K. Adams, but this is about a man, and I believe him and his wife are sort of splitting up and they're not getting on, and in an effort to improve his marriage and try to save his marriage basically, he starts a book club with exclusively men, I believe, and they read romance books to try and improve their relationships. So I'm actually quite interested in this one. I think this one could be quite funny, but I've not heard too much about it recently, only not in the recent years, it's a couple of years old I think. I've got two physical romance books that I'm reading, also picked up for other reasons, not for the readathon, and the first one is Addicted to You by Krista and Becky Ritchie. This is the Addicted / Calloway Sisters series. I've heard so many good things about this. I'm always seeing quotes about it on Twitter. And I want to read this for my romance reading project, which the first vlog in that series is going live tomorrow. But I want to read this to continue that project. And I believe this is about two best friends. One of them is addicted to sex and the other one is addicted to alcohol. Yeah. And they are in a fake relationship to cover up their addictions from their families. But all I know is that these books are supposed to be really good, and some of the quotes have made me really intrigued. So I picked it up physically because I have a feeling I'm really going to like it, and if I really liked it, and then I'd want it physically anyway. So I'm really hoping I love this one. And the other physical romance read I have is for another part of that romance reading challenge that I'm doing, and that is for a fantasy romance. So I'm looking at The Ex-Hex by Erin Sterling. Now I know this isn't your traditional fantasy romance, but it is about witches, so I'm going for it. This is, if you didn't know, it is about a witch, and she has cast a spell on her ex-boyfriend, and I think it's making him really unlucky, or really bad things happen to him, and it sort of brings them back together. But I've heard so many good things about this, so I'm really excited to get into it. One book that I picked up this month just purely for the readathon, and that is The Dragon Republic by R.F. Kuang. This is the sequel to The Poppy War, and The Poppy War is like one of Cassidy's favourite series, and one of the prompts is you get 4 points if you toast to the goddess, and Cassidy is the goddess, so if you read one of her 4-star and above books, then you get those 4 points, and I couldn't miss that, and I needed to continue this series. The Poppy War follows Rin, who is an orphan, I believe, and she basically... What happens? I've forgotten. She basically trains to enter a military school, and there's dragons. It's fantasy. It's quite dark, actually, but I'm sure you've heard all about it, so I won't go into it too much. And to be honest with you, I can't even put the words together to properly explain. Brain power is low, but I'm really excited to read this and get back into this series because I don't want to leave it too long. But it's also a military fantasy, so I'll be getting extra points for that. One book that I will be reading this month as well, and that is House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J Maas, which is the first in the Crescent City series. I've never read any Sarah J Maas, and I really would like to, and I thought that I potentially might like Crescent City a little bit more than say ACOTAR, but I don't actually know what this is about, and I kind of don't care. I'm really just picking this up because I want to know if I would like Sarah J Maas's writing, and how I would get into it. It's so big, and also a friend gave this to me because she had 2 copies and she didn't want 2 copies, so that's the reason I have it. I didn't actually buy it, but I have got the audiobook from my library, so that's why I'll be reading it this month. And also I thought it'd be good to get like a chunky fantasy on there, and I hope I do really like it. I just don't know anything, like I don't know anything about it, and I kind of like that. I kind of want to go in completely blind. Also, one book I've put on my TBR, quite randomly actually, and that is Orlando by Virginia Woolf. This is a classic, and I don't normally read classics, but I bought this because this book was written and is set at a sort of National Trust place, kind of near where I live, not too close, but in, you know, driving distance, called Mole Park, and it's a beautiful deer park which I've been to a few times and really loved, and I kind of wanted to read this as it is set there. But I believe that Virginia Woolf lived there with her lover Rita Sackville West, and it's a Sackville West property, and this explores gender identity, I believe, and I believe the main character is trans, but I'm not 100% sure, but I do know it explores like gender identity quite a lot. So I thought it'd be quite interesting, and because I'm familiar with where it's set, or the place that inspired where it's set, I thought I'd really like to read it, and I kind of don't want to leave it too long because then I won't read it. Simple as that. The last physical book that I have here with me is A Vagina by Naomi Wolf. I read this before, actually. I read this when I was in university. It's called A New Biography, but it's a non-fiction book, and it's about a woman's exploration and the changes in her body of coming off contraceptives and hormonal contraceptives, and her experiences of that, and her identity, and how that is linked to her reproductive organs and her vagina and everything. And I read this when I was in university, and at the time there were some things in it that I was like, oh yeah, but you know, that doesn't apply. And then as I've got a bit older, I've been really interested in reading this again and seeing how I feel about it, really. And I recently bought it, and I kind of want to read it straight away. There's about 19 chapters, I think, so I'll probably read like one a day and like annotate if I feel the inclination to do so. So that's just on my TBR for this month, but in more of a, I just really want to take this slowly kind of way. It's not super pressurized. I also want to read a couple of volumes of Saga this month in terms of some short reads and some graphic novels to read, just because there's going to be a lot going on and I want to have some short reads around. And Saga, I believe, is like a sci-fi space opera type story about a child from two star-crossed lovers and the history of that. So it was quite interesting. I did read the first like 5 or 6 volumes many years ago, but they're all on Scribd, so I'm going to try and read those as much as I can. Also, because I'm on Team ESKANA, I would quite like to read some Polar Fantasy, and I've cleared this with the Goddess in the ESKANA Discord group, and I will be reading Ice Planet Barbarians, because everyone's been reading it recently, and I just need to know what it's all about. And I know that if you don't know, Ice Planet Barbarians by Ruby Dixon is a 22 long book series, and I won't be reading all 22, don't worry. I might not even make it past the first one, but it's about a group of, I think, 12 women that have been abducted and by aliens, and then the aliens drop them off on by accident. They weren't supposed to go there, on a ice planet, which is icy, and there were a group of blue aliens there that sort of take them in, and it's like alien romance, and everyone says it's like either hilariously bad or they had a great time reading it. So I'm quite excited to see what's going on with these blue aliens. I'm quite interested. Because everyone's been talking about it. The late night crew have all been reading it recently, so I'm quite interested and I'm quite intrigued. I probably will pick up some other romances and maybe some fantasy romances for my vlog plans that I've got going on, but I've got nothing really set in stone at the moment. I want to keep the rest of the month quite free. If possible, I'd like to make a little bit more progress on my Robin Hobb reading, but I'm not like keeping super restricted to that. And also I will be reading the first 4 volumes of Heartstopper, the 4 volumes that are out of Heartstopper again, because the TV series is coming out this month, and I just thought it'd be quite nice to read, quite easy reads. I'll probably read those in the Peace Talks next weekend. And yeah, I've got a lot going on this month. I've got a lot of birthdays, family birthdays and things, and I'm going camping, so I've like kept that weekend free for reading. But I've still got a very, very ambitious TBR, but I am determined. I am determined to win. I'm determined to win, so I'm taking this personally. Yeah, so those are the books that I may or may not read. I'll give you more of an update on how my reading is going in the middle of the month, with what I'm going to then decide to do about Magical Readathon, because at the moment I'd like to try and read all of the prompts, so by the time it comes to the autumn equinox, I'm ready to go. I think it's the autumn equinox. I'm like ready to read all of the books. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll speak to you again soon. Bye!